And my co-host. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Doctor.
Yeah, we look like at the moment, I'm in the doctor's office and I'm uncomfortable, so I'm sat like this. Anyway, how you doing?
Not too
Not too
bad
bad
yourself?
yourself?
Yeah, I'm sore throat, but apart from that, pretty great. Um,
Yeah, so
right.
you're just trying to get over a bit of man flu?
Yeah, just a little bit. You standard.
I've heard about it for the last few days, so pure man flu.
Um, right, we did go through this before, but just want to say it so then we can refer back to it. This this whole thing is made as it's like a split decision, and it's a joint thing, and everything, including the channel, is split down the middle. So now you can refer back to this anytime if anything goes a bit pear-shaped. Not that it will, but you can never be too safe. Right?
You're talking about Zuckerberg and each other.
Yeah. I don't want any of that. But anyway, you been on the internet recently? You see what's been going on YouTube?
I don't think anybody could miss what's going on YouTube. It's everywhere, no matter what page you pull up.
Yeah, it's on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. The internet broke down the other day when KSI and Logan Paul stepped up to box each other and put on a decent show. Let's say that. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the fight, right?
Yeah, in your opinion, you're putting in a decent show.
To say they're not like professional fighters, it's not bad.
Right, well, apparently they are professional fighters now.
Yeah, but I mean,
they had to be professionals to fight the way they fought.
Yeah, they had to be. They
had to kind of go pro.
They had to go pro to fight without head guards and with 10-ounce gloves. But obviously, they're not like fighters that have been fighting since early days, and they've trained for 10 years or whatever, like consistently. Like they've literally had, let's say, 2 years in total to kind of train here and there, and then obviously like in the months leading up to the fight, they kind of go hard and try and get themselves in good condition to fight each other. Which, you know what, by those standards, it wasn't bad. It could have been better, but obviously it got a bit scrappy. But it was nice to see it was nice to see KSI come through, because not gonna lie, don't get me wrong, I'm not biased or anything. I like to stay as neutral as I can, but after
I know where you're going.
Well, no, I'm not gonna go about Suicide Forest, alright? I'm more on the lines of like Logan after the fight said that everything he said he didn't mean it, and it was all just to kind of sell the fight now. Everything KSI
also he said, I've been very sick the last 2 days. I had a runny nose, and I had a cold the last 3 days of the fight. He was looking good.
Thing is, it's all excuses when you lose, you know what I mean? It's like, thing is, after the fight,
If you're a sore loser, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, thing is, after the fight, there's like, he's still trying to justify why he lost, and obviously he had points deducted. He had 2 points deducted from him. But I mean, it was like within the rules of boxing, it was an illegal shot. Like he grabbed his head, hit him with an uppercut.
A very illegal shot.
He hit him while he was down as well, so it's fair. He got the knockdown because of the initial uppercut, but then he had 2 points deducted for 2 illegal moves realistically, so there can't really be any complaints about that. But Jake Paul, his brother, is just a twat, really. He sat there, like, he went and did an interview, I think with Sky Sports, and tried to, like, justify why his brother lost, like, say he didn't really lose, and it's all this, that and the other. And then his trainer, Shannon Briggs, did he was on Instagram live afterwards, and KSI ended up like joining him for his live session, and Shannon Briggs said Eddie Hearn rigged it all just to try and justify what Logan Paul lost.
Well, they had this fight agreed before they even fought the first time. So no matter what happened in the original fight, they still signed a contract of a two-fight deal.
I don't think they did. The only reason it went to
I was only reading up about it there, and they had to sign for two fights. They didn't get to sign for one fight.
From what I've seen over the past 2 years, because I've been heavily invested in this whole YouTube boxing thing after the first fight with Joella, and they signed, like, obviously they arranged the first fight and it was a draw, and after that it didn't even look like there was going to be a second fight because Logan Paul's team weren't making moves to sort anything out. It's only when KSI's team got involved that the fight got confirmed for November, and then this fight's kind of been taken separate, and Eddie Hearn got involved after how big the first fight was, and then obviously it's got kind of other platforms like DAZN and Sky Sports, which has kind of bought the YouTube world and the boxing world and merged them together for a week. Like, obviously in fight week, everyone kind of, media was around the Staples Center and whatnot, and it was nice to see how the boxing world and the YouTube world, no, the boxing world, mainstream and YouTube, the whole online community, everything kind of got mashed up together, and it was nice to see. But I don't know, I feel like the excuses from Logan Paul's team, like Logan Paul himself after the fight, Jake Paul in an interview with Sky Sports, and Shannon Briggs on his Instagram live, just kind of, they weren't prepared to lose, which obviously most people don't want to, just because they don't want to bring that negative.
Well, no fighter is ever prepared to lose.
But I feel like
they always go in thinking they're going to win, and they go in with overconfidence.
Thing is,
And it's part of the show.
You need to, if you do lose, you have to take it gracefully, because the better you take a loss, the less of a meme you become, especially on the internet. Like, as a social media influencer first, Logan Paul can't start being a sore loser about it, because he'll get memed. Shannon Briggs, I mean, he's already a meme. He did that to himself with the whole Let's Go champ, and then obviously this whole Instagram live thing that's happened after the fight the other day. And I don't feel like they're helping themselves get themselves over the loss and try to kind of fly under the radar from there. But
I think either way, the two of them are going to be made into a meme. But I think either way, before they even put the gloves on, the fact that they're willing in the ring and the fact that they're willing to fight meant that they were going to get big either way. Because they sort of started this whole new rivalry. Well, not new, but they started a rivalry. And decided, well, let's take it away from the keyboard. We're no longer keyboard warriors.
yeah,
We want to just get in and try to prove to each other that we're warriors. But as well, I'd say it was made as a financial decision and as a way of getting more views and more hits.
when you've got the likes of Matchroom Boxing coming in and kind of like, making it into a massive event, you're getting a big payday. But thing is, regardless of all that, you have to, because they didn't have to kind of go in and put everything on the line. Like, they're already big, both like 20 million subscribers each. You know what I mean? And it's like you've got to respect them for the fact that they put everything on the line, and they went in to settle a score at the end of the day. Like, that's what it started off as. And obviously, it was nice to see that no one got too hurt, and they came out with some form of respect for each other at the end of the fight. Like,
but people are saying as well that it was rigged because they did come out hurt. Because they didn't have like the wounds or the fatigue at the end of the fight compared to what other boxers would have had.
No, I mean, thing is, they were fatigued. Like, they got very tired. You should see KSI around round 3, round 4, like he was.
Just stumbling in the corner, yeah.
No, there's that,
But
but there's the fact that like despite KSI's really good conditioning, he was starting to gas out. And obviously, when the illegal shot hit him, it gave him time to kind of rest up and go back. I don't think it was rigged because I think KSI. The thing is, he doesn't usually bleed, and he did. I think he ended up with a bus slip or something from this. But you've got to look at it like this. The shots to the head especially didn't really connect like properly, apart from Logan's to the chin and a few of KSI's. There weren't that many that connected like a proper boxer's would and would actually cause that type of damage. Because Logan's face didn't look too great when he came out either. It still looked like they'd be bruising the next morning. But obviously, if it's wild swings and no clean connection, you can't really expect there to be anything like that. So I can't say it's fixed.
Well, I think either way, both of them went in as tactical fighters. They didn't go in to knock the other person out. They went in
The thing is, that was
to get as many points as they wanted to.
No, I mean,
Which is how you win a boxing match as well.
It is, but if you watch I don't know if you saw the press conferences, they were promising a knockout. They were like, I promise I'm gonna knock this man out. We obviously expecting it to be like the first fights. They had bigger gloves, head guards, and with the shots they were hitting in those fights, you'd have thought the smaller gloves it's gonna hit a lot harder. And without head guards, you know, they were thinking that they get the right shots, they are gonna knock the other person out. And obviously it didn't happen, even though there were knockdowns. You know, you can't fault them for believing that there'll be a knockout. Even Eddie Hearn thought there was going to be a knockout. But you've got to respect that the fact that they went the full 6 rounds and had that heart to go the full way. And obviously the thing is, they could have easily gone down, but they kind of
respect the way that they fought, right?
Yeah.
The fact that they were willing to get into the ring and that they were willing to take punches, they were willing to train. And do all that. Right.
Yeah.
But now where does it stop? What other YouTubers are going to decide, oh, a keyboard warrior is after saying something to me online, so I want to call him out, and I want to say, right, me and you get into a ring and we fight it out.
Well, the thing is, if you look at last year's fight, it was all YouTubers. Like the first fight, it was an undercard full of YouTubers, and then it was a main event of the two big YouTubers, and it was the same with the first fight with Joella. So I think personally for the platform, it's a good thing to have.
But would you say that the two of them are influencers? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what kind of age group would they be influencing?
Late teens, early 20s.
Right. So does that mean that late teens, early 20s are going to decide now that the only way that they can deal with, say people say things about online is let's square up, let's have a fight, and whoever wins the fight is going to be the person that's right.
Well, no, that's the thing. It's YouTube boxing, and they've turned it from online arguments. They've actually made kind of a whole new sport out of it. Like you've got your regular boxing, like your professional boxing, and they've kind of made another variant of that and put YouTube boxing where it's more inexperienced, but it gets higher views because of the entertainment factor and where the whole kind of like mainstream media is being pushed out by these online presences. And honestly, personally, I'd like to see more YouTubers fight. Like I wanted to see on this one, I wanted to see Jake Paul fight Anderson Gibb. I think most people did because it's a good matchup, and the fact that Jake Paul, he ducked and dived against Gibb, like saying he's not got enough fame or enough clout to kind of to fight him, was like, it just makes it a little bit more like, yes, I really do want to see this now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know if they handle it in the right way, because professional is a professional.
Yeah.
Somebody that's trying their whole life to do their job or their trade or whatever it is, just sport, right?
Yeah.
So like other amateurs, like other YouTubers more so, are gonna think now, well, we can go for a professional license, get into a ring, which means that the average Joe So who hasn't trained their whole life are gonna go in and like with the head injuries and that, like the amount of head injuries and damage you can do to your body from boxing,
Yeah.
which YouTubers think nowadays like, oh well, it'll never happen to me. Well, everyone thinks it'll never happen to me, but it's gonna be on the rise now because of this.
It will be, but then again, that's like most content creators nowadays that are gonna apply for their professional license. They're all adults, and that's a decision that they've got to make. You know, like thing is, I'll give you an example. Do you know Randolph, KSI's friend, the music guy who went on tour with him?
Yeah.
He got offered to do an MMA fight, and there's an event in Newcastle, with lots of like YouTubers and streamers doing they're all fighting each other like MMA in December, I think, or early next year. MMA kind of event, and they're all going they want to, entertainers to fight each other, and they put Randolph and the sidemen's cameraman Constantine. They've asked them both if you want to fight each other. Now the thing is, they could have said, they considered the fact that this will be massive for us, but then again, they're also not stupid, and they've you know what, there's no point. We've got no reason to fight. And even if we did have a reason to fight, we're both going to get hurt from it, and we can make the money that we're going to make from that fight on YouTube, throughout that 6 month gap that we're training. It's not worth. And that's the thing. These people, these big entertainers with millions of subscribers, they are smart enough. They've got a business mind, and to get where they are anyway, they've got to make smart decisions. And I trust that some creators will think it's right for them to do it, and they'll go ahead with it, but that's on their head. But some people also make the decision that, it's not for me and I'm not going to do it. You can't just say that everyone's going to jump on the bandwagon and
No, I definitely don't think everyone will do it. But there's a lot of young teenagers, as in 13, 14-year-olds that watch Logan as well.
Yeah.
And KSI. And they've been very, very easily led and easily influenced by these fights and what they can and can't do. And once you see it on YouTube or see people doing it, they might think it becomes more socially acceptable.
I see what you mean, but it's kind of, it doesn't matter where you see it then. If as a kid you watch boxing, for example, right, and you see a boxing match, mainstream professional fighters, it doesn't matter where you see it, you can still think it's acceptable, because there's people there paying to watch a fight, and there's people cheering on this fight, and it's being made to seem like a good thing. You can be easily led on to do it that way as well. It's not all about this whole YouTube boxing thing. Watching professional boxing as someone who has a younger mind can still influence you to do the same thing.
I think we'd have to agree to disagree on that now.
Yeah, I mean,
because I think that a professional boxer, as in Tyson in his day, Ali, I think it was a lifestyle choice for them since a child, right?
Right.
Now, Logan Paul decided one day he was going to put YouTube videos up, and that's what he done. He put YouTube videos up. He done whatever he done. He got famous. He didn't train to fight solo life. He didn't learn how to dodge punches. He didn't learn how to, take a punch properly.
he was in combat sports as a kid, like throughout his whole school life.
Right, I didn't know that.
He did combat sports. KSI didn't do combat sports as a kid. Like he did rugby. Well, he did contact sports, but like he did things like rugby and football. But obviously, if you're gonna change the game, and things like this are good for YouTube. Like, the thing is, there'll be people that are easily led by everything. Logan Paul doing his YouTube videos filmed the dead body in the forest. Now, the thing is, that's where, like, it clicks in people's minds. People know what's good for content, even the 13, 14-year-olds, but then they know that it's not acceptable in real life. And the thing is, it's all about them having the ability to fight someone. Not all kids have that ability, so, you know, there's some that will, some that won't, and the world's full of people like that. You can't really stop everyone from being influenced by something.
But as an influencer, you have a responsibility sort of to, help people through making better decisions in that way.
Yeah, I mean, then, the content creators, this is good content and it's good for YouTube as a platform. They can't be, like, they've got 20 million subscribers each, right? They can't be responsible for the choices of every single one of those people. It just can't happen. It's like, for example, you get people that, break the law in real life. You can't have the government or the leaders of a country responsible for every single person in the country, because people are still going to make their own choices. It works the same way.
Are you putting Logan Paul and KSI to the leader of a country?
I'm just giving an example. You can't control the actions of every single person.
No, I don't think every single person, but I do think setting a good example for each person that does watch your content is a responsible thing to do. Instead of having the person who is easily led or who could be easily led, and sort of setting your view that this is the right thing to do, this is how you handle things.
I mean, I think the best way to look at it is both content creators are controversial as it is. It doesn't matter what it is. From the start, they've always made controversial decisions. And you know what? This whole boxing thing is just another one of those. And these controversial decisions that they make are what make them so popular. So we can't stop them. We can't say it's wrong, because at the end of the day, it was a popular event and it did exactly what they wanted it to do. And it just kind of, it's another one in the bag that they've kind of like, yes, I've done this, and it was a success, and now it's on to the next thing, whether that be acting or carry on with YouTube or music or whatever. They've got the name to do that. And if you look at their whole careers, like for example KSI, he's done boxing, he's done YouTube, he's done acting, he's done music, he's played in like big scale football matches. Like, he's done a lot, and I feel like if you look at it from the wider perspective, looking at everything he's done should inspire you to try new things, over than pinpointing the fact that it's gonna kind of make people turn to violence. If you look at the whole thing, and it's been mentioned throughout this whole boxing thing where all eyes were on it, that it's done this, and this, and it's not scared to try something new. And I think that's what should be focused on, more than the fact that it could make people start to, turn any argument into a fight.
Right, I do think we'll have to agree to disagree on that point.
Yeah, fair enough.
But what did you think of the end decision?
I was surprised.
In what way?
As in, I think the last one was something like 57-54, and I have no idea how that decision was made. I guess it's obviously the fact that points were dropped also kind of Yeah, because it would have been 57, 56. But yeah, no, fair enough. Thing is, after the fourth round, obviously supporting KSI throughout the whole thing, it was, it was like I was shaking throughout the whole thing because obviously I've watched him from near enough the start, and obviously I wouldn't want my favorite content creator to become a meme on the internet and just kind of lose his presence where to the point where he just doesn't upload anymore like he did throughout that break he had where he went and made music and just kind of, as he said, transformed as a person.
I think it'd be an honour to be made a meme.
Yeah, but meme your whole life and have people just make fun of you because you lost. Because that, like Joe Weller, did you see how long he disappeared off YouTube for when that happened? Like,
No, was it long?
it was a very long time. Like, he only came back quite recently. And like, if you look at, he lost 2 years ago now, maybe more than that, and he's only come back in the last like 6 months, like properly uploading. So it can
So as well has psychological issues on
well, yeah, because
people
you're ashamed
that
to
who
come out.
have fights as well.
Thing is, you'll be ashamed of the fact that you talked a big game and you were like, I am definitely gonna beat this guy. I'm gonna knock this man out, and you lose. You know, everything that you said, all those clips will be put together, and potentially for the rest of your YouTube career, kind of, they won't stop coming back to you. You know what I mean? Like people will send them into you, or they'll get tweeted at you, or they get put in your subreddit, whatever. They'll always be there. And I feel like with people with influencers as big as KSI and Logan are, they can't afford to have that. And now, obviously, with this whole thing about Logan and his team not taking the loss gracefully and trying to still find an excuse, and obviously Shannon Briggs and Jake Paul haven't helped the situation, is going to...
So you're sort of on about like Logan at the end of the cold and all that.
Well, there's the cold, there's the fact that he thinks that the point should be taken. There's a lot that comes...
And then he wants to get the referee looked into it and his decisions second guessed and all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he didn't lose grace.
He should have just accepted, like, you know what, fair enough, you were a better fighter on the night, and you know what, fair play, and just walked away like that. But the fact that
would have KSI and knocked some sense into him.
It'd be nice to see like a clear winner. To be fair, like if KSI had have knocked him out, like there was 2 knockdowns, and Logan said one of them was a slip, and there was nothing about the other one. Apparently, KSI pushed him, but after watching rewatching the fight like a couple times, it was a clear punch to the head that just kind of sent him onto the floor. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's done now, and KSI came out with a win. And KSI was asked, I think in a interview with DAZN afterwards, is there another fight? And he go, well, and I think Logan Paul asked him, so are we doing this for a 3rd time? And Shannon Briggs asked him on the live, he was like, all big fights and all good fights come in, they all fight 3 times. And he was like, no, it's done. I've beaten him. It's not a draw. There was a winner this time, and that's it. I'm done. And I feel like Logan Paul's team really want to push for a 3rd fight.
Do you think KSI is afraid to fight him again?
No,
or do you think he just wants to retire undefeated, or do you think he'll fight somebody else again?
I feel like when the right fight comes along, he'll take that fight. And to be fair, I don't think people really want to see KSI Logan Part 3, because at that point it's just becoming a joke. You've done it once, you've done it, but there was no decision, like it was a majority draw. Fine.
Well, what about if they see the first fight was amateur fight, headgear,
yeah,
different gloves, and I don't know if it was a different weight class or not.
I think so. I think it was middleweight. I'm not sure though.
So would they not deserve to have a shot at the same fight, same way, same gloves, no hair protection again?
I feel like it wouldn't get the attention that it's got this time. This time it was like, okay, they fought the first time and it was a draw. That's massive. And this time we've got a winner. There's a result here. So it wouldn't make sense for them to both go and fight again. It would for Logan because he wants to get a win. But then where do you go from there if Logan wins that? KSI has one win, Logan Paul has one win. They'd call for another fight. And it got one.
And what about if they get into a fight in a different style? As in, say, what if they got the UFC involved and they start fighting under UFC rules or something? They could do any fighting style. They could grapple, they could do everything.
I feel like for KSI that wouldn't make sense as far as because Logan Paul has spent his whole life in wrestling and MMA and he's trained so much of his life and dedicated so much of his life to that kind of lifestyle, and obviously that'd be something new for KSI, and taking that fight wouldn't make much sense for him, you know what I mean?
I get what you mean, yeah.
But as far as another fight's concerned, probably not something people want to see again. Like there's this whole kind of 6 month build up to the fight with back and forward videos, and then you've got like 6 weeks before there's all the interviews and press conferences, and it all just gets a bit like it's just.
But wouldn't it open them up to a whole new fan base as well?
Well, it has done realistically with this last fight. It combined the whole online world to the mainstream media, and you know the pure boxing fans got to see what YouTube boxing was about. And if you know they can even take 5% of the fan base and kind of have them come back to them, that's massive for them. And obviously, if you're gonna do it again, it's the same kind of same people. I mean, the world's eyes were on this last fight, and it's just not going to benefit anyone really. Because if Logan wins, it's going to be like, okay, well we need another fight then, and it'll come from KSI's side this time. Like we've both got a fight each, and there was a draw the first time. We're back at square one, and it's like no one wants a third fight. Never mind fourth or fifth. You know what I mean?
And what do you think if another professional boxer calls them out? Do you think they should take the fight? Or do you think they should put their head in the sand and walk away?
It depends if the fight makes sense. If someone like, say, Anthony Joshua calls out Logan Paul or KSI, then no, because they're going to lose. Like, we saw this last fight, it ended up in, like, it was more of a scrap. Like, there was some technical ability there, but it wasn't, like, it was mainly seen as more of a scrap in the end. So I feel like maybe if it's an amateur fighter, so there was that fight that got called quite early because the other fighter was just taking a piss really. But I feel like there was that Nikita Obabi, the guy that looks like Logan Paul a bit. If like he offered one of them to fight, like if he offered Logan Paul to fight, that would make sense because he's an amateur, he's a pro, but obviously he's a novice, so it makes a bit more sense for him to take a fight like that.
Now would you say if the likes of Conor McGregor or someone from the UFC called them out, that they should or they shouldn't accept the fight? Do you think they should just leave everything, get out of the fighting game completely, or listen to offers that are coming to them?
They should definitely consider their options. I mean, depending on the amount of kind of options they're getting, but it's always good to kind of consider everything and then see what's better for them. Like, don't be stupid about it and go fight the likes of, you know, Tyson Fury or something like that, because they would get clattered and it wouldn't be a contest. But
right.
taking someone that's just started their fighting career it might not be a bad idea to kind of take those fights if they want to stay in the fighting world. If they want to carry on boxing, then fair enough. Like, for example, Logan Paul and Shannon Briggs have collectively said out in the press conferences and interviews that they're going to make Logan Paul into a world champion in the heavyweight division. Now, let's look at it. Not realistic. I mean, he's lost his first professional fight to someone who has technical ability but didn't show any of it. He was like, KSI for the most part swung wildly and did his damage that way because there was pure anger and aggression. And I feel like going to like after beating someone who's trained, like, I think he trained for the past like 4 months for this fight because he was on tour. Logan Paul trained since the last fight. He's trained for the past 14 months and still didn't beat KSI. I feel like looking at that, like Logan Paul is not going to be a world champion. He can win a fight for sure because it came close. But I don't think Logan Paul can be a world champion, and he's not being realistic about it. KSI has made the right decision to say, right, I'm done. This is it. I won the fight. That's fine. And he did say if the right fight comes along, he will fight. But other than that, he's going to go back to doing his music and his YouTube and maybe a bit of acting and just kind of go back to, his core, being an entertainer rather than a fighter, which I think is the right decision from him.
Well, the two of them are closely linked as an entertainer and fighter. Because everything up to the fight, up to the minute that they step into that ring, is all about entertaining people. All about getting people hooked on what you're doing and getting them to watch the fight.
Like, they have to sell the fight in order for it to actually be worth it. If they don't sell the fight, then what's the point in fighting?
I know. I don't know where it can stop. Are they going to end up jousting next? Are they going to end up fighting on horseback eventually? Like as in YouTubers as a whole, not as in just Logan Paul and KSI.
I feel like the opportunities right now where it could go are endless. Like, they could come back completely and go on to singing or no, something like that, which is harder to train for, because if you've naturally not got a good voice, then fair enough, but obviously it could be like, well, thing is, singing's one thing and then obviously making music is another, and I feel like a lot of like YouTubers are doing music. KSI is one of them. Logan Paul's doing music of his own as well, but I'm talking about like actually singing, like without, not rapping, not diss tracks. I feel that could be quite interesting, or maybe even like, I don't know, a dance battle or something, for example. That'd be quite, it'd be interesting and something you can go train for. But can you imagine?
You saying they should all go step up style?
Thing is, you never know with the way things are going. Like, it could happen. Like,
I suppose at least they wouldn't be kicking the head off each other and
exactly.
That'd be a bit more of a thing. But then again, does that mean that they're all going to end up having a YouTube X Factor? They all sing and
like a YouTube's Got Talent.
Britain's Got Talent. Yeah, YouTube's Got Talent, let's say.
That it wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, it's one of those where it's not out of the question, because I feel like YouTubers got to the point where these creators can do whatever they want. They want to fight, they can fight. They want to use it, they can. Because
have you ever seen Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
The famous line when he says, "Just because mankind doesn't mean man should."
Yeah.
I think the same applies with YouTube's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Just because they can doesn't mean they should.
I don't think they should. But then again, it's like they've done, like, YouTube went into a phase where they were doing rap battles online, the whole diss track thing. It's at a point where if they feel it'll bring in numbers, they'll do it regardless.
I don't know. I think YouTube as a company or as a brand are doing well enough now with the likes of the new show like Cowboy.
Yeah.
I think that they should start exploring more into making good programs like that, or maybe good TV shows, become more like a Netflix sort of thing as well.
I feel like that at that point then it becomes less about the creator, and that's what YouTube is about. It's about people sitting in their rooms making these videos.
YouTube used to be just about the creator.
Exactly, and I feel like to
not anymore.
Because like a lot of these shows, like YouTube Premium shows or YouTube Red, whatever you call it in your country, is still made by the creator largely. Like there's the Sidemen show, which was made by the Sidemen. There's Finding Football made by the F2 Freestylers. There's still like content creators that have decided to make a high budget like series of like programs to make a massive kind of, you know, I say 7-part thing. And obviously they've kind of invested in it a lot, and I feel like even though they're a lot bigger than just a single video, it's still at large still about the creator. It's just something like obviously that high quality that they're making people pay a subscription to see it.
Well, I think they should sort of look into that end of it, as in, or maybe even split it into two separate sort of websites or separate sort of YouTube, let's say. You can keep the people with their side, and you can have them making their own shows on the other side. Because advertising on YouTube make a killing in money, like they have no worry about whatsoever. So it would be good to see them put the money into the programs that they could be making, but also good to see them give money back into the people who are doing the shows. But I don't think they should go into the fighting game.
Well, the thing is, YouTube as a company didn't go into the fighting game. It's the creators on the website, the creators on the platform decided we're going to do this. And the thing is, YouTube.
But did they promote it?
Of course they did. I mean, it's good for YouTube. Like,
and didn't they sponsor it?
No, they didn't.
They didn't sponsor it, didn't they?
No.
Right.
I don't even think YouTube advertised it, because it wasn't being shown on YouTube. Because it got taken to Sky Sports and DAZN and Fight TV, like massive platforms that were on YouTube. But the thing is, these are individuals making this decision, like these content creators, they're doing it themselves, which obviously YouTube can't do anything about if it's not on their site. But the thing is, it's still done a good thing for YouTube as a company, because it's bringing more people to their platform. Like everyone from the whole mainstream media came over to YouTube, and they're still on the site trying to learn more about this new world of entertainment and of influencers and of content creators, and this whole new type of content. Like everyone from the boxing world has now come onto YouTube to find more out, and you know, they're watching they're rewatching the fight, or they're watching things in and around boxing on YouTube, which is bringing more people to the platform, which is making YouTube as a company more money. So they're not going to be against it. Whatever makes their figures grow, they don't care what it is, as long as it's not illegal. And obviously, professional boxing isn't illegal, so there's no scandal behind it.
Right. So the big question then of everything is KSI versus Logan Paul 3. Will it happen?
At the moment, it looks like Logan Paul's team are going to try push for it, but I don't think KSI is going to agree to another fight. I personally think that he doesn't want to go into another intense training camp where he's got to, stay away from YouTube and his music, and not like stay away from home and the comfort of being able to do what he wants for another.
So do you think the beef is over?
I think the beef is squashed, like, for the most part. Like, they shook on it at the end, and they were like, you know what, respect. We shared this experience together, and you fought well. They shook at the end, and that was, that was good. I think now, I don't think the beef is between the fighters anymore. I think it's more like beef with the teams. You know what I mean? Like, even the coaches, like, there was massive heat leading up to the event. Like, Vidal Riley and Shannon Briggs, like, they ended up in a little scuffle the day before the fight. But honestly, I feel like, apart from everyone else that's in the back, like, still part of the team, but everyone else, the beef is, like, they want to keep it going. But the fighters have nothing left to, like, they fought and they had a winner, and it was proved that, KSI was, he won and he's the better fighter. Well, he's not the better fighter technically by the look of things, but he won the fight. And he showed more to win it, and that's it. That's all they really needed from that. That's all they were looking for, is a distinctive, someone that they can look back at this fight and say, they won the fight. Not like the last one where it was like, yeah, I mean, he won this round, but he won that round, and it ended up in a draw, and they should have won it. It's like, no, he did win, and that should be the end of it. As far as the beef goes.
Right, another important question.
Yeah.
If there did happen to be KSI versus Logan Paul 3,
yeah,
would you watch it?
Personally, just because I'm so invested in it all, and because obviously I'm a massive supporter of the whole YouTube boxing thing, and I support KSI as a creator, I would watch it, but as a large thing, I don't think it would get the attention that it has this time with, the big companies getting involved. I feel like it'll go back to kind of Joe Weller sides where we've seen it before, twice already. We don't want to see it again.
And what about third time's a charm, no?
Nah, I think that, well, as far as KSI's third fight, yes, it worked the charm. He won the fight, and it got the attention, and they got paid, and no one got hurt massively. I think if they want to kind of keep this as something that's massive, and it kind of changes history in the YouTube world and on the internet, I think they should stop here, because otherwise at this point it becomes a bit of a joke.
Well, a lot of people said when they first started it was a joke.
But then after seeing how big it got and how big the first one was, people started to take it more seriously, hence the reason the likes of Eddie Hearn got involved and invested a lot into the fight. So,
right.
I mean...
And what about KSI's brother and Logan Paul's brother? Do you think they should fight again?
I feel like no, because there was a winner in the first fight. And yes, KSI's brother didn't train as hard as he should have, but that was on him. I feel like if there's a fight that needs to happen, Anderson Gibb and Jake Paul need to take up, and they need to fight. And I feel like Jake Paul needs to stop being scared of Gibb and needs to face him and fight him.
So fight him or have a dance off. That's
it needs to be boxing, this one, because people wanted it on this fight. They wanted it on the undercard, but Eddie Hearn wouldn't let it happen. So, but apparently there's rumours that it could happen on the undercard of Joshua Ruiz in December, and I'd like to see that.
Well,
I mean, we can see what
we
happens.
we can only hope.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be. I feel like that would be just as entertaining as watching the actual Joshua fight, just because of the background on this. So, yeah.
Hopefully, because of the steam of this fight now, we'll get an answer to that question in the next month.
Less than a month now, but I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of this whole thing between Gibb and Jake Paul. Maybe it'll come out and be nothing. Maybe it'll just flatline and he kind of gets forgotten about. But I don't think, personally, I don't think Gibb will let that happen. I think Gibb will push for the fight and he'll make it happen.
So keyboard warrior versus warrior.
Pretty much. It's the way it's got to be. Just to settle the score, because Logan Paul has said Gibb's not big enough, and I feel like Gibb has to, he needs to take the opportunity to prove the point that he is big enough, and that he's not someone to be taken lightly, and is not a joke. Because Gibb, he's someone who's been fighting a long time. Like he was boxed as a kid. Now, he's not like a massive pro fighter or anything by any stretch of the imagination, but after seeing him fight on the first undercard of the first fight, he is an animal. He's a pure animal, and he does what he needs to win. And I feel like him versus Jake Paul, after they both won their fights on that undercard, and after all the kind of things that have been thrown back and forth between them, would make such an entertaining fight, and it could headline actually. Like if they hosted another event like we have with KSI and Logan, and we had Gibb and Jake Paul, that could be big enough to headline an event of its own, just with the amount of people that want to see it. It'd be like Eddie Hearn should be thinking about setting up an event on its own, with having pro fights again on the undercard and having them, go at it, because they've both got their pro boxing license. So I think it's time to see 10-ounce gloves and no head guards between them two as well.
Do you think Jake Paul should be scared?
Yeah, 100%. Jake Paul claims he's not scared, but he should be fearing for his life if that becomes like a real, if it becomes a reality where Jake Paul and Gibb fight. He should fear for his life, because Gibb is an animal. Like, he's just, they call him the beast from the Middle East. That's how much he should fear, because he doesn't take this stuff like this lightly. He will beat him until he drops. It's not this where he's going to say he will knock him out. He will do it, and he will knock Jake Paul out.
Excuse me.
Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, he will knock Jake Paul out. It won't be talk. He'll make sure it happens within 6 rounds. But obviously, then again, that's the fight I'd want to see go the full 12. So, but actually, to be fair, if Logan Paul and KSI were to do a third fight, it'd have to be no head guards, 10-ounce gloves, and it'd have to be a 12-round fight, 12 3-minute rounds, if they're going to do another fight. If not,
we could just bring them over to Ireland and get them have a bare knuckle fight.
Then I think Logan Paul
win.
Logan Paul would lose, because it's more of a technical fighter. He showed in that fight, he doesn't know how to have a scrap when he needs to. So if it was a bare knuckle, just pure street fight, I think KSI could beat him.
No, bare knuckle is boxing with no gloves.
Yeah, so no, but imagine no gloves and swinging as wildly as KSI did, and even though slightly connecting, that would knock him out. he'd break it, like KSI would break his jaw because there would be Logan Paul trying to do what he did in his first fight, trying to use the jab and keeping at a distance. KSI's got too good on. He's got too good at moving on the inside, getting close up, and making it personal. And I don't feel like I feel like Logan can't deal with that. So if there was to be another fight, I feel like it'd have to go full 12 rounds.
So is that the only way you watch it again?
Well, I'd watch it regardless, but I feel like if it's gonna get any attention,
The only way you'd be happy with it again?
yeah, I feel like it would have to go full 12 rounds with the same kind of things in place, and I'd want to see more technical boxing from KSI. I'd want to see him kind of, you know, instead of swinging widely in pure rage, I want to see him be a bit more controlled, and I'd like to see Vidal keep him, you know, kind of with a calm.
Give the two of them another 2 years training. Then let them go to the ring. Let them do 12 rounds.
I feel like if it gets enough time away from like YouTube boxing, and they keep training, and they go and they kind of bring it up in another 2 years, I feel like maybe it could get the attention, kind of, you know, reviving YouTube boxing and kind of bringing it back and doing it like a proper professional fight this time with the full 12 rounds. Then I feel like it could get the same coverage as this time. But if they're going for it in the next year, not worth it. Because they'd make a loss from it rather than a gain financially, and it's not going to gain their popularity or their exposure to the world. So I think if they gained any exposure, it's this time, and I don't feel like it's going to go any further if they do it in the near future. So that's kind of my thoughts and views on all that.
I think we both share our views.
Yeah.
Clear enough there now. And
you got anything else you want to add? You got anything else you want to talk about before we call it a day?
Before I go, I'd say about the dirty bit of boxing Logan Paul done.
Oh,
Just the way he got him when he was down. I just think that was the most disrespectful thing anyone could do.
it was, and it might be because obviously it's his first professional fight. Like, they're both making their professional debuts, and emotions got like the better of him or whatever. But thing is, if you've made that dirty shot, stand up and own up to it. But like, you know what? Fine, fair enough. That's my bad. Don't do what he's actually gone and done and made excuses about it. And try to, you know, make his way out of it, because the decision's been made. You've lost the fight. Make it easy for yourself.
Get over it.
And be like, you know what? Fine, it was dirty boxing for me and it was disrespectful. I'm sorry, my bad. And we can get over it.
Right. We're coming up on time now, so
Yeah, well, if you guys have enjoyed our first podcast, which actually I need to change the title because I didn't actually say it was a podcast, so I'm gonna have to change the title on YouTube, and I'll do that once this goes live as a video. But mate, we actually got a viewer in. We got a live viewer. I think we got 2 of them. So
good stuff.
Thank you guys for stopping by. Make sure you like it if you enjoyed that. Subscribe, because we're starting from scratch. We've got no one in.
And also, if anyone has any suggestions of what they'd like us to discuss.
Yeah, if there's anything kind of current and new and you guys want us to talk about it, leave in the comments below. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live stream from us. That's about it, really.
Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, alright guys. It's been nice talking to you. I'm gonna call it here, and we'll see you guys on the next podcast, which should be a week from now. Alright, peace guys.
Bye.